Hey guys, good evening. By the way, and happy belated Labor Day to all of you. I hope you guys have had a relaxing Labor Day and you had a chance to enjoy it with friends, colleagues, family, significant others, what have you. And I hope it was just a relaxing and just an enjoyable day, and I hope it was great for you. I know my Labor Day was actually pretty good. I started out, I had a trek in the morning, mid morning, and then I had a festival to go to in the afternoon. So that was pretty good. And I want to let you know a little about Labor Day before we get started. So the first Monday in September is Labor Day. It's the annual celebration of the social and economic achievements of American workers. And this holiday is rooted in the late 19th century when labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. Before it was a federal holiday, back around 1916, Labor Day was recognized by labor activists and individual states after municipal ordinances were passed in 1885 and 1886. A movement developed to secure state legislation. New York was the first state to introduce the bill, but Oregon was the first to pass a law regarding and recognizing Labor Day on February 21st, 1887. During 1887, four more states, Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York, passed laws creating a Labor Day holiday. By the end of the decade, Connecticut, Nebraska, and Pennsylvania had followed suit. By 1894, 23 more states had adopted the holiday, and on June 28, 1894, Congress passed an act making the first Monday in September of each year a legal holiday. So the very first Labor Day was September 5th, 1882. So again, it is the very first Monday of September, whatever date that is. It doesn't matter. It's the very first Monday of September. And hopefully your Labor Day was a lot of fun. I know mine was. So let's get right into the show. I do want to thank you, whether you're with me at 10:21 p.m., 10:21 a.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m. It doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being here. Do check out my hat. Believe me, achieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. All right, guys. Let's get right into this, shall we? All right. So the master topic for the entire week is basically finding motivation in everyday people who are local heroes. Series 3, Show 36. That's what our weekly is about. Okay, that's what the weekly is about. Now, today's show, the specific granular topic on today's show, is what are everyday acts of kindness? What are everyday acts of kindness? So I'm going to give you some. There, of course, are more. All right. So one thing you could do for an act of kindness, I like to call it random acts of kindness. You might be saying, gee, when is National Acts of Kindness Day? Well, it's every year. National. It's called it's random. I call Random Acts of Kindness Day, and so Random Acts of Kindness Day is. I'm just checking here my list. Random Acts of Kindness Day is February 17th. Now, there is also, I believe, a Kindness Day in November. It's called World Kindness Day, November 13th. And World Kindness Day is a little different. International holiday that was formed in 1998 to promote kindness throughout the world and is observed annually on November 13th as part of the World Kindness Movement. It is observed in many countries, including the United States, Canada, Japan, Australia, and the UAE. World Kindness Day presents us with opportunities to reflect upon one of the most important unifying human principles. On a day devoted to positive potential of both large and small acts of kindness, trying to promote and diffuse this crucial quality that brings people of every kind, walk, race, religion, orientation, color, creed, party, brings them all together. All right. So there's one in November, and then there's the Random Acts of Kindness Day in February. So now that you know a little bit about kindness, so kindness does make the world better, makes the heart grow fonder. Even if it's a platonic relationship, it really doesn't matter. It really does make a difference in your life. I have to tell you that right now. All right. So thinking about kindness, one of the things you can do to be kind is you could call a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while and say, hey, hey, Joe, hey, Mike, haven't talked to you in a while. I know it's been a few years. How you been? What's going on? If you're ever coming out my way, maybe we should, get a bite to eat or something. We should catch up. You could do something like that. Maybe you say, hey, maybe we should go back and go to one of those ball games like we did. Now the stadium's new. We can go there. Another thing you could do, which is really important and it's very priceless, it's tell your family members how much you love and appreciate them. So a lot of kids, I should say many kids, many chill kids, don't tell their parents they love them. It Can a child feel truly loved if a parent never tells them that they love them? So this is from the parents' side, right? So the parents have to express love. Some parents don't tell their children they love them, so they can't reciprocate it back. Along with telling a child that he or she is loved, the parent needs to non-verbally convey that love with hugs, smiles, tender voice inflections, affection. Right? A loving parent is sensitive to a child's needs for validation, for autonomy, for safety, for the ability for stimulating activities, for the well-being. And so I think when the child doesn't hear that, they just assume that that's just the way of the world. But it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen sometimes. Another thing you can do is you can reach out to spend time with a friend, a family member, or a neighbor who might be lonely. That could be a senior citizen, that could be a friend, that could be anybody. Maybe go pick up some food that they like and bring it over. Maybe a homemade meal if you're talented. Maybe go get a pizza if you're not talented, right? There's lots of things you can do. And it's not in the cost, okay? It's in the act. I want to share something with you. So Father's Day was not too long ago, but it passed. And so people say, when is the next Father's Day? So the next Father's Day is actually June 15th. So Father's Day falls on June 16th, okay? But in 2023, we celebrate on June 18th. Father's Day will arrive a bit sooner than usual. Next year, it will fall on June 15th. Okay, so it was the 16th, so the 15th. So this date does kind of change around a little bit. So what I want to share with you, which I think is very important. So my dad said, don't get him any gifts. And this particular holiday, I wasn't going to be traveling to see because I do go down to see them a lot. But this time I didn't go down to see them because I had just saw them my mom's birthday. It was like, just a few weeks. I think her birthday was June 9th. And I had left to go back within a few days. So I didn't come back down again for Father's Day. And I come down like 8 times a year. So when I did that, I wanted to do something for my father. And he said, don't get me any gifts. It's okay. I was like, what can I get him that would show him that I appreciate him? So I went online and I sent him some delicious fruits and chocolates. And they were kind of in a certain unique shape. And he got them and he was crying. And that basket wasn't very expensive. I'm going to tell you that it was probably under $75, but the price didn't really matter. I said to myself, gee, that is one of the first times I made a purchase with my own money, and I felt really good about it when I did something for somebody else. And I said, gee, I want to do more of this. Okay. And I liked the way that my dad responded to it. That made me feel really, really good. So Another thing you can do is you can actually this is probably an important one. You can actually send a motivational text to a friend who is struggling. Um, Sometimes when you help somebody, you have to put all judgment aside, and you also have to not expect much in return. That's the most important thing I want to tell you. So send a motivational text. Hey, how's your day going? You're great at this. Send them some like a positive like booster to their day. That's really cool, right? Help a friend get active. Maybe that's doing some exercise. Maybe it's eating better. Like, whatever it is, just go ahead and do that, because I think you're going to find that is really, and you're going to find that that's really very cool when you make that choice to do that, to help somebody. Another thing you can do, ladies and gentlemen, is another really cool thing. You can actually host an informal get-together and invite your neighbors and friends to get to know each other. Could be a potluck supper, could be a cocktail hour, could be an ice cream social night, could be a variety of things. Could just be a wine and cheese hour. Okay, it could be a dessert get together, like a coffee and. I know whenever my grandparents would always come over, because we'd have dinner, like, oh, well, grandma and grandpa are coming over for coffee and that, meant that my mom was going to make coffee and tea, and they usually brought a cake, and my mom had a cake. So I always liked coffee and. Coffee and was just, it was nice because they would bring a coffee cake, they'd bring some Italian pastries, or my grandmother and my dad's side would actually bring a German chocolate cake or something like that. So coffee and was always something that I looked forward to. And it was nice because let's say at that time when I was in grammar school, I was usually going to bed like around 9 o'clock. I had to be in bed because I had to be up early. So I remember one time it was my Uncle Vincent. He came by. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, who's at the door? It was like Christmas time. So the doorbell's ring. And the doorbell rings. And my Uncle Vincent, I was like, hey, Uncle Vincent. And I said, oh, can I stay up? He's like, yeah, for a little while. So my Uncle Vincent came in. He brought some sweets, and we had them. And then I needed to go to bed. It was like after a half hour, so like till 8:30. And then he visited with my mom and dad. And it was always interesting when somebody would come. Sometimes my mom's mother and father would just show up if they hadn't come at all. They would just decide to show up. Like, I don't know, or they'd bring dinners. They would just show up, which was nice. But if we had plans, it was sometimes hard. But my Uncle Vincent, he always would just kind of like show up. And he would always come around, the 7:30, 8 o'clock time, never earlier. But it was nice that he came. We visited with him. And the only thing I didn't like, unfortunately, is he was a big smoker. I think I told you this. I'm not going to go into the whole story now, but my grandfather Morley on my dad's side, he stopped smoking before I was born. But he was smoking like 6-8 packs a day. That's a lot. And his lungs were already damaged. And I'm not going to get into the whole saga story here, but he passed away when it was Thanksgiving time, and I was just about in second. I think I was just leaving second grade, and so that was a hard time, and that's what instilled in me that I'm never going to touch a cigarette, never going to touch tobacco, not going to do that. So I really enjoyed that time. So it doesn't matter whether the person's older than you, younger than you. The time is really valuable. Another thing you can do is, in addition to doing those things, a lot of people, they always think it has to cost a lot of money. But truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. That's like a misnomer that it has to cost a lot of money. It really It really doesn't. It doesn't need to cost a lot of money at all. So I think that's important. So we talked about this before a little bit, but I'm going to reiterate it. And this is like I did for my dad, send a care package. I know when I was at college, my mom would send care packages all the time. Sometimes she would tell me I'm sending you something. She'd ask me what I need, like if I need deodorant, if I need, like I always like Twizzlers, or different snacks or things like that. Now I was in college. I was still drinking soda very heavily. I didn't stop drinking soda until about, I'm going to say, 5 or 10 years after I got out of college. And so my mom would send this care package. She would tell me it's coming. It would be on my mind. She would say she's sending it out. I would go to the mailroom every day. And like it took so long. I finally got it was like Wednesday. I got it, and they got this great big box. Okay, it's like a huge box. And then I would take the university shuttle. I never would take it, but this box was heavy, so I wasn't walking with it. And there was all kinds of stuff in there. Sometimes there was additional underwear in there. Sometimes there was a new shirt or two my mom would send me. Sometimes there was additional slacks or pants in there. Sometimes there was a new pair of shoes. Another time, my mom sent stuff up to me. She knew that I liked Swedish fish. So my grandmother went over to this place called Nagel's Candy Bar. It's not around anymore. And she went and bought Swedish fish, brought it to my mom, and put it in the care package. When she heard that my mom was putting a care package together, she wanted to be part of it. Sometimes my grandmother would send her own care package. And her care package was pretty neat. She would send cookies, homemade cookies, especially around the holiday time. She would send me cookies. My mom would also send me, and my grandmother too, they would also send me these Pepperidge Farm cookies. It would be like, the little package, and I still remember you have like 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers, and each tier had like 4 cookies in it. So you probably think, well, I could go to the store and buy it. Yes, but it's that feeling that somebody did it for you. I think that's just amazing. When I was at summer camp as a Boy Scout, and I'm an Eagle Scout, they would send care packages up there, and you could get care package mail. But a care package had money in it sometimes, had candy in it, had soda in it, always had soda because I wanted soda. And it would send me ginger ale. Always have some kind of ginger ale in case my stomach got upset. And then sometimes they would send me toothpaste and other things if I needed mouthwash. So that was always in the care package. It could be Q-tips, could be anything I need to take care of myself. Sometimes it was a new razor blade. And you might say, well, gee, John, you could just go out and go buy one. You could, but it was much more meaningful when I got this gift from my parents and when my grandparents said it. That was nice. And then my other grandparents learned my mom was sending care packages, and they didn't know how to send a care package. So they just gave my mom stuff and she put it in. But my other grandmother Morley on my dad's side, which was his mother, she would type up the label. She was so proud. She'd type up the label. And if my mom hadn't sent one in a while, she was too busy, well, then my grandmother would send a care package. And these are pretty big care packages. I mean, I would come back and you would think I went food shopping. That was a big, big care package. So it was nice to get that. So if you have a friend, maybe you have it could be somebody that maybe starting a new job, or somebody that is maybe having some other challenges, you can do that. You could bring the meals. You could bring meals over to their home, right? Because maybe they don't have time to cook because they're always working and they're trying to acclimate to a new job and they don't want to go out to eat. So somebody comes over and they bring food. I remember when we moved into our new home, I remember both grandmothers would come over and bring food because my mom didn't always have time to cook. She had just opened a new business, and it was just nice. It was really, really nice. Another thing I tell you to do, and this is something that I think is really great, make a donation to charity. Now, the best kind of donation you can make to charity is the one that nobody knows about. Now, of course, you want to get your tax breaks. I get that. But make a unanimous donation. Now, I'm going to share something with you, and I'm going to tell you the amount because the amount is not important. So you guys know that I'm Roman Catholic. You guys always know that. But So the church and the saints, something, I obviously I donate to that. So I was at church. I was actually at a different church because I had to go to a later mass because I wasn't able to make them. I was busy doing some other things, and so the collection basket came around. I didn't know what was in my wallet. And I remember so many times I'm like always try to pull out the cheapest bill, whatever bill I could just pull the cheapest one. I said, you know what, God, I said, I'm not gonna do that today. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what bill I'm gonna pull out. But whatever bill it is, the first bill I got my hand on, that's what I'm gonna put in the collection basket. Now I'm gonna look at the bill just so I know that I didn't lose that amount of money, but I'm not gonna change it once I learned about it. So I took the bill out, took it right out of the wallet. And the first thing I was a little startled because it wasn't a 5, it wasn't a 10, it was a much higher bill. And part of me was like, okay, you can't put that back in the wallet. You wanted to, but you can't put it back in the wallet. So you put it in the collection basket and it's gone. Now, I didn't worry about it. I just say, you know what? I'm giving it away and it's going to come back. Well, that week, ladies and gentlemen, in my business, okay, this is the part that I think is just, this is amazing. All right. So that week in my business, I wound up getting 25 times what I put in the collection basket. Pretty cool, right? So when you do something from the heart, from the feeling, it's going to come back. The more you give, the more you receive. All right. So spend time playing with your pet. If you don't have a pet, maybe it's a hobby. I don't know. But spend time doing something. It could be, it could even be doing something like a board game. It could be doing modeling. I know when I was younger, I used to always like to do models, put airplanes together, put other figures together. And then after putting them together, I would take them down to our basement and I would paint them. And the painting was always such a process because before I was allowed to paint, I can only paint in the basement. That was the only place I was allowed to paint. But once I was instructed on how to paint and how to do it and how to clean up, I would put the newspaper down and I would paint. And I would take a while to paint because I wanted to make sure everything was going to be great. I didn't want to mess. Last point, ladies and gentlemen, help with a household chore at home or for a friend. Now, you don't necessarily have to do what I've told you today. You could do something as simple as hold the door for somebody. You could pay for somebody's parking space. You could buy someone a cup of coffee, right? You could pay for someone's gas. You don't have to. You could bring a cake over to a neighbor. You could bring leftovers to a neighbor. Okay? And I think this whole concept of giving, of putting yourself out there and just trying to do this, it makes us feel really good. That's what I got to tell you. So today's whole episode was about something very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, and that was, what are the everyday acts of kindness? And, a kind act could be something as simple as just smiling at someone. A kind act could be getting someone an interview for a job that hasn't been able to get an interview. A kind act could be praying for someone. A kind act could be, I know today a lady dropped a bottle of water. I went down, I picked it up, I gave it to her, and she was startled. She said, thank you. When you do a kind act, don't expect anything in return. Just enjoy the gift. Like when I gave my dad that set of chocolate and fruits, I felt really good. Not when I spent the money, but when I heard how much he enjoyed it. That made me feel like really, really good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a stupendous Labor Day. I hope you're ready to go back to work tomorrow, September 3rd. And I hope you realize that unsung heroes, we're going to talk more and more about, kindness is a big part of an unsung hero. But don't be kind because you have to be kind. Don't be kind because you're looking for something in return. Be kind because you want to do it, because it feels right. That's why you want to be kind. Ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic Labor Day night. I hope you'll like, love, and support the channel. Comment below, tag your friends, colleagues, and associates, share this out with everyone you know on social media. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I will be sure to create more content just for you guys. But in the meantime, check out BelieveMeAchieve.com and get yourself ready to download some great knowledge to improve the quality of your life and everyone else you care so much about. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, I hope you had a great